Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I have here an article coming from Russia Today that reports on a statement made by Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And I would like you to look at this statement from at least two angles. One from an objective angle, and the other one from a personal angle, like you would be involved in the statement. So some of your relatives, loved ones would be involved in the statement. So let me show you the title of this article, which is a statement made by Benjamin Netanyahu, Russia Today, 12th of February 2024. Israel kills more terrorists than civilians, Netanyahu claims. The United Nations top court has ordered the country to prevent genocide in Gaza. Israel is now killing more Hamas militants than civilians in Gaza, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu claimed in an interview with American media on Sunday. His remarks came as the Israel Defense Forces was preparing a ground assault of the overcrowded city of Rafah in southern Gaza. So, Western nations, including the US, have warned Israel against ground aid. Warned, there's nothing. So let's see what this guy says. ABC News host Jonathan Karl pressed the Israel leader about the death toll in the enclave surpassing 28,000, as reported by Gaza health officials. That we don't take seriously, but the other side is always dogma. Netanyahu dismissed it as Hamas statistics and urged viewers to treat such claims with caution. And I'm quoting Netanyahu. "We've brought down the civilian to terrorist casualties, the ratio down to below 1-to-1, which is considerably less than in any other theater of similar warfare. And we're going to do more," Netanyahu pledged. So he said he got it to below 1-on-1, which is considerably less than in any other theater of similar warfare. Okay, well, he cited unnamed urban warfare experts and other commentators claiming that Israelis, and I'm quoting, have killed and wounded over 20,000 Hamas terrorists, out of that about 12,000 fighters. The Prime Minister did elaborate on why the remaining 8,000 non-combatants he mentioned were viewed as terrorists. All right, well, let's put it this way. It says here the group estimated that during the period of time, this is Euromed Human Rights Monitor, reported that in the 15 days since the ruling was issued, the Israeli army has maintained its rate of killing civilians, depriving them of their most basic human rights, besieging them and starving them. End quote. This is Euromed Human Rights. This is not Hamas. The group estimated that during the period of time, the Israeli military had killed at least 1,864 Palestinians, including 690 children, so 700 children in 2 weeks and 15 days, and 441 women. The country is violating its international obligations, it noted. Well, let's not look at the numbers here, but let's say he said the Israeli kills more terrorists than civilians, and he said he got below 1-to-1. That is, let's say Israel, in its right to self-defense, killed, 10,000 terrorists. Let's put it, 10,000 terrorists. And he killed 999 civilians. Do you think that's okay? Now, I want you to be objective and think about it. So for each terrorist, Netanyahu says is below 1-to-1. So for each terrorist, they killed 0.99, civilians. So almost 1-to-1. Do you think that's acceptable? Now, if you say yes, and you can't think abstractly and objectively, let's make it directly on you. You and your family are the civilians killed. And your mother, your father, your children, your wives, your girlfriends, people that you know, are the ones, only they are the ones 1-on-1. Would you agree with the deal? If Netanyahu comes and someone else comes, hey, we're going to kill, for each terrorist we kill is going to be one of your loved ones killed. Would you be okay with that? Now, obviously, you will say no. So you see, you're not just. Because justice is not only when it affects you directly, justice is something that is there, exists, in abstract. It's a universal value, regardless of the parties, regardless if it's the other way around. Imagine there would have been a claim made, let's say, by Hamas. Would you be okay with that? Obviously not. So remember, put yourselves in the receiving end, and I'm guaranteeing you immediately realize the garbage. As I always say, it's very easy to find out if a policy, a law, is just or is not just. One, see if it applies across the board. So if it's the things are reversed, if the other side will be okay with that. That's the first one. Let's say if Netanyahu will be okay with the same estimation coming from some terrorists. We killed civilians versus military. Do you think it would be okay? Of course not. Of course not. And that's the first one. And the other one is put yourself in the position the law applies against. So you'll be at the receiving end of the law. And I guarantee you, as I said before, with your loved ones, you will immediately figure out where the law is not just, or it affects, it's not okay, it's not objective, it's not across the board. So don't get to that point where you start saying, hey, freedom of speech is infringed only when it touches you and it hurts you. Say that wherever you see it, because eventually it's going to come at your doorstep. The same here. Now, he said that like there was an achievement. We brought down the civilian to terrorist casualties, the ratio down to below 1 to 1. That's not what I said. It's what he said. So he said that considerably. So that means it was higher than that? And then he said in other places it's even better. I mean, we are doing a great job considering other similar situations. It's like you tell me that you have a rapist who rapes, 50 women, and someone raped only 5. I say, considering the rapist, 5 versus 50, 10 times less. Now that's idiotic. Why? Because you will think, how about those 5 would be your family female members? How would you think about it? It's only 5. You see how idiotic that is? All right, my friends. I heard these kind of things before, but put it in that context. Like you say, well, the inflation is this amount. Okay, or we gave, a country aid 20%, or our economy dropped 20% or 5%. You're saying, 5% is not a lot. Well, think in these terms. How about you get a raise of 5%? When was the last time you get a 5% raise? So when you put it on your own terms, you realize how big that is or how small that is. The same here. 101. Remember, you're talking about other people's relatives, other people's loved ones. When these guys started with collateral damage, remember in Iraq and in Yugoslavia and in Syria and in Afghanistan, they say collateral damage. I always thought, when I say I saw American politicians or army garbage coming and say, it's just collateral damage. What about those are your people? Not your people, your relatives, your husband, your child, you would not call it just, it happens, man, let's move on. No, they will not. Remember in Afghanistan, these guys bombarded and Iraq, a few weddings. Mistake. That person who did that, do you think that should go for murder? I think so. I mean, by mistake, can make a lot of mistakes with, consequences that are finite, or how should I put it, dead end. Mistake. When you make a mistake, you're still charged and convicted. Negligence. So don't tell me, well, the guys with 6-inch long nail put the wrong button, or the joystick and the missile, the smart bomb, ended up on that civilian wedding. Collateral damage. No, that person, that garbage, should be out. In prisons, for 20 years. Death penalty, something like this. What we would do in our society with this kind of mistakes. Otherwise, that tells me, at least, that those people, the collateral damage, are not considered equal as humans with, which is very bad, don't you think? Because that means you dehumanize groups of the population, nations, and therefore you can commit a lot of crimes. That's what the Nazis did. They dehumanized a few groups, called them cockroaches, rats, and pests, and fleas, and all that. And it was easy to think like that. Oh, you just fleece their bad and out. Don't think of them as human beings. And that's bad if you do that. So again, Netanyahu is, oh, one-on-one. Are you crazy? And he said that on the TV. So anybody pushed back, the guy, ABC News host Jonathan Karl. I can go over there and maybe Jonathan Karl is a Zelensky Stein as well. Let me check. Just as a matter of fact, just to satisfy one of my curiosities. Jonathan Karl. No, I didn't find what I was expecting, but hey, that thing is, remember, one-on-one. Remember of your loved ones. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.